everyone, and welcome to this conversation presented by White House Custom Color. I'm Jed Toffer. Thanks for listening. You know, my wife Vicki and I have owned and operated our photography studio, V Gallery, for 20 years now. White House has been our lab for the last 16 of those years, and we could not be happier. White House is a family-run business, just like ours. If you haven't already, check them out at whcc.com. And if you want to drop me a line, feel free to email me at jed@whcc.com. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad was one for 45 years before he retired. Several of my uncles and cousins currently own and run their own businesses. And of course, my wife and I do as well. As much as I admire a business owner, I must say that I admire a person that does it all on their own even more. Christina Kjar Hanson is a one-woman show. As a result, there's only one person she needs to rely on to make things happen. And it works wonderfully. We're going to talk about making it happen, right?
Yes.
Because you have.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Give me a rundown on who you are, where you're at, how long you've been doing whatever it is you do, and then what you do.
Okay. I have been running a studio for...
Well, first of all, who are you?
Oh, I am Christina Kjar Hanson.
Okay.
I have been running a studio for almost 16 years. When I graduated college, I moved home and lived in my parents' basement, as most college kids do.
Yeah.
And I started working for the local photographer, doing retouching, like assisting him on weddings. A year later, he decided to open a second location, and that was about 45 minutes away from the town I grew up in.
Where's this at?
I grew up in Ida Grove, a small town of about 2,000 people.
In Iowa.
Rural northwest Iowa. Mm-hmm. Yes. Our county has 3 stoplights, the whole county. So we're pretty rural.
The county?
The whole county, yes. 3 stoplights.
Not a lot of people out there.
No, it's a pretty rural part of the state.
Mm-hmm.
So the studio that I managed was about 45 minutes away up in Storm Lake.
Okay, so that's where you went.
That's where I went. Mm-hmm. Yes, and he stayed in Ida Grove. And then he suddenly passed away in 2006.
Okay.
And so I managed both studios for about a year and then purchased mine and went on my own.
Okay.
And now I'm in Holstein, which is right on Highway 20 that goes all the way across the state. It's about 15 minutes north of Ida Grove.
What do you shoot primarily?
Seniors and weddings.
Always?
Yes, mostly. I mean, in a small town, you kind of have to do a little bit of everything because you need to draw in as much clientele as you possibly can. So I do families and children, but mainly what I market for is seniors and weddings.
So in a nutshell, how do you make it work?
Advertising, doing a little bit of everything. Like I'll take some commercial jobs here and there. I've kind of gotten out of the sports pictures. I used to do quite a bit of that, but the last few years, it's, I always thought with a small town too, you had to do a little bit of everything. And while I still do, my marketing has changed to focusing more on the seniors and weddings. And so I'm trying to set myself above all of the rest of them with pricing, the whole experience. I bought a building and have a brand new studio so that I'm completely different from everyone else in my area.
So you think that people would initially, well, it would seem to me like it would be easy to convince yourself if you're in a situation like that you need to be able to do everything all the time because you have to take what you can get.
Yes.
Like that's where my mind goes.
When I first started off my business, I was so worried about, making the ends meet and making the payments. And because coming from a studio I managed, I didn't deal with that stress of it.
That part wasn't there.
Yeah. So now that I've been in it long enough, I'm a little more confident in that.
Well, but I feel like I hear you saying the opposite of what it is that my mind tells me regarding like taking what you can get whenever you can get it. It sounds like you're going the opposite way and becoming more niched.
Yes.
And more specialized.
I'm trying to transition that way. Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, it's mostly in the marketing, I think.
Yeah. What's that look
I
like?
don't know. We'll see.
Well, so you're in the process, right?
Yes.
And so what sort of things are you attempting?
Part of it is I've really started to structure my marketing calendar. Like this whole entire past month after the first of the year, I've really worked on starting to get my marketing for the year for seniors in play. I've been working on like monthly marketing calendars and what I'm going to do for that. And really starting things earlier, revamped my website. I'm not showing the things that I don't want to shoot anymore on my website. Putting more content on my website as far as the senior experience.
So focusing more and more on the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said that earlier too. Like you're kind of building a destination.
Yes. Because no one is going to think, I'm going to go to Holstein, a town of 1,000 people for my senior pictures or like a really awesome portrait experience.
Not unless you build something that is appealing to them.
Yeah. And so going back to seniors again, just because that's mostly what I shoot now. Our class sizes are really small. Like we have 35 kids in our graduating class locally. And so most of my seniors are from a half hour away, an hour away.
Yeah, how far away do you draw from?
I have a couple seniors that have already requested information that are 2 hours away.
Is that right?
As well as I did last year. They come from the Okoboji area, which is right on the Minnesota border. So I draw from all the way up there.
How do they know that you're there?
Social media presence, word of mouth. I send different things to the schools, like for prom donations. Just I've kind of always done that.
Yeah.
But I can't draw from just my area, so I have to really branch out. Because our part of the state is made up of really small towns.
Lots of little towns.
Yes. So the town I grew up in is the county seat, and it's only 2,000 people.
That is
At
tiny.
one point in time, my county was the smallest population in the whole entire state. Coming from a city, you're probably like, whoa, what do you do for fun?
No, I live in the middle of the cornfields too.
Yeah?
Yeah, in Illinois.
Yeah.
So just a state over. But I have lived in bigger, more populated areas. But when you get into bigger, more populated areas, there's generally a lot more competition too. What does your competition look like?
There was another studio down the street from me, actually about 4 doors down. She recently closed her studio because she transitioned to all volume school and sports photography.
Okay, so she's always on location.
Right. So we never really shot the same thing. But there's a lot of the photographers that just shoot seasonal, like are not full-time portrait photographers. There's a lot of those, but it seems to be the trend. They do it for kind of a couple years. Like there's not consistency as far as brick and mortar studios.
Right. There's not a lot of those.
Right.
What does making it work actually look like for you?
Probably that, like different from all of the ones that aren't the actual like brick and mortar studio.
Well, but I mean, like from a success standpoint, what does it look like for you personally? What do you have to do to be like, oh, I did really well. That was a good year.
I don't know. My mind is going blank now.
Well, that's honest.
I feel like I have to work a lot harder than I used to. Not
You
that
do? You working harder now than you were before?
I feel like when I first started, there was not the Facebook and the Instagram, and it was, you got the list from the schools and you sent out your mailers, and like everyone just knew who you were. And now I feel like I have to constantly show my brand and generate way more content. And
does it take more time and cost more money, or what is it? Mostly time.
Mostly time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to stay on top of all the social media stuff in particular.
Yes.
And is that exhausting?
Yes. It's a total different generation.
Gosh, it really is.
Yeah.
How do you cope with it? Because does it come naturally to you? Is it easy for you?
It didn't at first. And I don't think that I was posting the right things to draw in, the right clients.
Yeah.
I wasn't like as brand specific as I should have been
Right.
probably.
Right.
So I feel like even just since last year, like I've had to really structure more what I post to be more brand specific.
Yeah. I want to come back to impress you again on what does success look like?
What does success look like?
Yeah, like if we're centering this around making it work, how do you know that you're making it work? I mean, you've been in business for 16 years, right? So that's a testament. To doing something right.
Yeah. I mean, what's the average lifespan of a small business? They say 5 to 8 years.
Right.
I mean, I guess I feel successful that the ones that couldn't make it or were in business a long time and haven't made it anymore, I guess I feel proud that I can still be making it on my own. I don't have any employees. I do it all myself. Mm-hmm.
Only you.
Yep. I purchased a building a couple years ago. And so now I'm a building owner and like I actually own my own studio instead of just renting a space. Like, I guess that to me is probably my biggest accomplishment.
Right.
That's
what success looks like.
That it's just me that I've been able to do that.
Right. And it's always been just you?
Yeah, I'm kind of a control freak. I'm probably a little introverted that way. Like, I don't think I could sit in my studio and have to talk to someone the whole time.
Yeah, so
I just rather do it all myself.
You're just there by yourself all throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I just do it.
What's family life look like?
I have a husband.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
We've been married about 6 years.
Yeah.
He is from Holstein, originally where we live.
What's he do?
He works for a door manufacturing company.
Yeah.
He's in their technical environmental sales.
You have dogs?
No, we borrow my parents' dog once in a while.
You borrow the dog?
Yeah, she's a little wiener dog named Daisy. We borrow her. My parents live 10 minutes away. His live just outside of town.
So family's close.
Mm-hmm. Yep. My parents help a lot. My dad's like the handy guy that when I bought my building helped demo and yeah.
Yeah. That's
so
nice to have.
We're real appreciative of the family that are around.
So you said your biggest indicator, or maybe one of the things you're most proud of, is the studio piece. Mm-hmm. What's something that you wish you could do again?
Like with my business in general?
Sure.
Do again?
Yeah, like a regret.
Oh, a regret. I don't know.
Maybe you have none.
Probably not becoming more specialized sooner.
Oh, you waited too long.
Well, I think that I had the mindset of I had to take all the business that I could get just because I didn't want to be a failing studio like so many others. I think I was so scared to fail that I just didn't raise my prices right away or,
How's that work?
taking everything I could get.
How's it worked pricing wise?
I'm probably known as one of the higher priced studios in my whole area, but the clients that I'm getting come to me because they know that they get what they pay for and they value that.
Right.
But it takes, in a small town, it like takes education. Like I'm not going to be able to photograph all my friends and their families. And I have to keep that totally separate. And I feel like sometimes maybe I get my feelings hurt if someone doesn't come to me. Like it's hard. Like oh my God, I didn't take their family pictures.
Well, in a small town that happens.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah. And so, I've been friends with someone forever and I think I'm going to do their daughter's senior pictures and they go to someone else. And I'm like, well, but it's business, you have to keep it separate. And I know what I have to make. So
do you have the people that come up to you and apologize that they actually went somewhere else?
no, they just kind of avoid it.
Like go to their house.
I don't know if they think I'm just
there's another big
gonna
picture from somebody else and they just act like it's not there.
Yeah, like, oh, we'll just talk about something else and not even mention that we had our daughter's senior pictures taken. Like, obviously, I'm going to see it on Facebook. Duh.
Right.
I don't bring it up because I don't want them to feel bad.
Right.
Because, I mean, not everyone can afford me, so that's fine. But I know what I have to make to keep the studio.
Well, your overhead's low, even though you have your own studio that you have to pay for.
Right.
You don't have any more employees.
Right.
You can keep your expenses. You can focus on keeping your expenses down. So you don't need to bring in an exorbitant amount of revenue.
Right.
To pay for things.
I could probably shoot more if I had an employee, but that's not really my focus. Like I just want it to be me so that they're only dealing with me and everyone knows that I'm the one person behind the business.
You. Like everybody just knows that it's going to be you.
Yep.
What do you do when you need, let's say you're going through a dry spell, and what do you typically do to bring in more work?
Well, I also have a newborn prop company.
Well,
which is weird because I don't really shoot newborns.
Right. But you have a newborn prop company.
I do.
What's that called?
It's called Lavender Lou.
And that's yours. Mm-hmm. So you do that too.
Yes. I just started, dyeing cheesecloth in my spare time and like making color recipes because, and I started selling it on Etsy and then it just kind of kept growing. And so I do that.
So how much does that take of your time?
It depends. Like this time of year when it's slow, I can kind of stock up.
Yeah.
When I'm getting ready for trade shows, like I'm having a booth tomorrow and then I have another one coming up. I'll work a little harder, but during senior season, I just know that I can't do as much. So that kind of offsets slow season. I mean, it's not half of my business by any means.
When does everything ramp up for senior season for you?
June. I start in June.
But will you do like grad stuff here coming up?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
From last summer.
Yes. So I just put all of that together. I'm doing like a whole magazine with all my designs this year, and I'm going to mail that out when I get back from convention.
Okay. So everyone will get like a thing in the mail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Various options.
Yes.
And is that effective?
This will be the first year I've done that.
Oh.
Because I feel like I've seen my grad card sales slip because everyone's buying, they want the digitals, which I don't just give away. But I feel like they're buying them because they want them and then they just make the grad cards on their own. So I want to try to get back in, why they need to get those from me.
How do you handle digital files?
Like how do I sell them?
Yeah. Like how does somebody get them from you?
Seniors can only buy a minimum of 10 or up, and they're pricey. Like they know the reason that they're priced that high is because they are full res. They can print them as big as they want, as many times as they want. So they're going to be way more than a print. And I mean, I think there's a little culture shock at first, but like they have to be educated by that, Yeah,
you've said the education piece a couple times. And
I've been learning more to educate my clients.
So you're learning so that you can teach them.
Yes.
What does that look like?
Probably with like my website and my product guides just in the last year, I feel like I've been putting way more content into that.
Yeah.
When I did start selling digital images, I felt like I had to justify is probably the right word, why I'm selling at this high price and not like $100 like the random other lady.
Right.
And so I started making like the price guides and more pages on my website, like more content to educate them because they're going to wonder, well, why is she in this little tiny town and charging 10 times more?
Yep.
So I guess it probably just goes back to the experience. Like I feel proud that I have the studio storefront, that they have somewhere to go. It's just
so
all ties
you're
together.
Communicating with them without having to even talk when they come in.
Right.
They see the space, they see your work, they know who you are to some degree.
And with my social media feed, I feel like I've learned I can't just show the pretty pictures because that's not educating them. I have to show them that I have a studio, or they're never going to know I have a studio. And I have to show them the products that I offer, or they're never going to know that I offer products.
So you're incorporating that too.
Yes.
What products do you focus on?
Last month, my product of the month was albums. So I showed pictures of albums. This month, obviously, it's going to be grad cards.
Right.
So I'm going to focus on that.
Right. You have a product of the month every month?
Well, I try to so that I stay on task with posting it. I'm like a paper person, so I printed out the calendars and then I write in each day.
Yeah. How often do you try to sell wall portraits?
How often do I try to sell them?
Yeah. Is that a big deal?
Yeah. For every sale, I try to sell wall portraits unless they're buying one of the big digital image
Even
packages. Even wedding.
Yeah.
Some of my wedding collections come with a big wall portrait because I want them to have something quality when people walk in their house. Yes. Right. But then I try to add on with the parents and the, afterwards. Where
do you want to take your companies, your businesses? Because now I'm realizing you have two.
Well, the Lavender Lou thing is, it generates really good profit, but it's kind of more fun, like a stress relief. Okay. This is a little more
like a break almost.
Yeah. Like I can be creative in a different way. But my studio, I think I would love to only shoot seniors and weddings if I could.
100%.
Right. So at some point, if my husband and I are ever able to start a family, I think that with, I can structure my calendar with family life, a lot better that way. So
you want babies?
Yeah, I hope I don't start crying.
It's okay if you do.
Because I'm tired.
I know what it's like to want babies.
Yeah, we've been married probably 5.5 years and it just hasn't worked yet. And so
I can empathize with you.
I think one of the reasons that I feel so proud that I own my own business is that sometime if it ever actually works out, I'll have the flexibility to be able to create my own work schedule and then, create my family children's schedule. So I just feel really proud in that way too.
In 5 years, you have that going for you with the flexibility piece.
Right.
In 5 years, you hope to have 100% weddings, 100% seniors, nothing else. You don't have to shoot anything else.
Yep.
You can still be doing, what's it called?
Lavender Lou.
Lavender Lou. I was going to say Lulu or something. So you still have that. Mm-hmm. And maybe you have a baby or two.
That'd be awesome.
That's what you want.
Yep. That's my picture.
Yeah.
How I picture it.
Yeah. And no employees.
Right. I don't want to talk to anybody during the day. That sounded really mean. I'm a nice person.
I don't think it sounds mean. Some people don't want people, and in my experience, employees can be a very difficult part of a small business.
Yeah.
Not because the people are bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're the best.
Yes.
But it's just a lot. There's a lot more into the mix when you have other people involved.
I'm an only child, and so I probably
see. It's this is like an onion. All these layers just
the
keep
layers
coming
are peeling off.
You're
so
an only
I'm
child.
just used to being by myself and doing it all.
Right.
So I think I'm 38. There's no changing it now.
That's
adapting.
That's probably true. But who's to say that you need to? I look at it as something that's 100% fine.
It's working.
And it makes and it makes sense that you're an only child and you're used to that, and no one can do it as well as you.
In my mind, yes.
In your mind.
Yep.
And in reality, so that might be the piece that's in your mind, but I feel like in reality, when it's your business, no one is going to care about it the way that you do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally true.
Right?
I've had little part-time people here and there, probably not in the last 10 years, but I was just better off doing myself. I didn't have the anxiety of if it was going to get done right or...
Well, I think that you have done some things to be proud of, especially considering where you're at, because it's difficult no matter where you are. Mm-hmm. But to be in such a lightly populated area where you need to rely on drawing people from
Right.
half hour to an hour to 2 hours away.
Right.
That can be a tall order.
It is. And getting them to come to Little Holstein. I had some clients from Sioux City is the closest like real big city close to us, which is, I mean, it's not huge. It's like 80,000 people. And I had some clients last year that drove for their senior session, and they were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was so far out here. We just kept going. It's like, well, I'm not making you drive like off the grid or something.
Yeah.
Like you're going 45 minutes out of the city.
we have electricity out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to be fine.
We don't have a lot of stoplights, but we have electricity. So, yeah.
Well, I wish you the best, and I appreciate you sitting down and getting a little vulnerable with me and letting me ask you some of those questions, because those can be hard.
Yeah.
Well, maybe next time when I see you, you'll have a little baby in your arms. That's what I hope for you.
I hope so. Crossing my fingers.
Good.
Baby and a camera.
Well, that's going to happen. That's how it works.
Yep.
A baby in one arm and a camera in the other.
Yep.
Good luck to you, Christina.
Thank you.